You might think of medieval peasants as living in simple cottages, working the fields from dawn to dusk, but some of the most fascinating and extreme survival strategies of the Middle Ages actually took place far below ground. Entire communities dug homes into the earth, creating these subterranean networks that sheltered them from the harshest conditions of their time. Today, we're going to explore why medieval peasants lived underground, how they built and survived in these hidden spaces, and, what modern preppers and history enthusiasts can learn from their resilience. By the end of this, you'll not only understand a remarkable piece of medieval ingenuity, but also see how to apply similar principles in survival planning today. Medieval peasants lived underground to escape the dangers above. Life in medieval Europe was far from safe. Warfare, raids, famines and harsh weather made everyday survival a constant challenge. Peasants often had little protection from invading armies or bandits. Above-ground dwellings made them vulnerable, and honestly, fireproof construction was rare. Living underground offered natural protection. The earth itself insulated homes against extreme temperatures, violent storms, and even pestilence to a degree. In some regions, like the Loess Hills in Germany or the limestone regions of France, the soil was soft enough to carve into, providing a practical solution for survival. For a modern survivalist, this principle is clear. Using natural terrain for protection reduces exposure to threats and extreme weather. If you're planning a retreat or emergency shelter, considering earth-sheltered structures or partially underground bunkers offers the same advantages peasants relied on centuries ago. They dug underground homes to maximize limited resources. Medieval peasants were poor by necessity, not by choice. Timber was scarce in some areas, and stone was expensive and heavy to transport. By digging into hillsides or soft soil, peasants created homes using the earth itself as a structural material. These spaces often consisted of 1 or 2 rooms, sometimes with niches carved for storage or sleeping platforms. Ventilation was created through narrow chimneys or shafts, while floors were packed earth. Some even incorporated simple drainage systems to keep water out. In practical terms, this teaches us how to make the most of available resources. Modern survivalists can take a page from this book. When planning a sustainable shelter, consider low-cost, high-efficiency options like earth berms, dugouts, or using natural materials that reduce the need for costly construction while enhancing insulation and stability. Underground living helped peasants survive harsh winters. Medieval winters were brutal. Snowstorms could isolate villages, and uninsulated homes above ground lost heat rapidly. By going underground, peasants took advantage of the Earth's natural thermal mass. Temperatures several feet below the surface remain relatively stable year-round. In winter, these homes were far warmer than thatched cottages, and in summer they stayed cool. This simple fact often meant the difference between life and death during long winters. For preppers and historians interested in survival, the lesson is clear. Thermal regulation is one of the most critical survival factors. By using natural insulation, you can maintain stable living conditions without modern technology. If building your own underground or semi-underground shelter, you can further enhance warmth with strategically placed fire pits, insulated sleeping platforms, and compact designs that conserve heat. Living underground allowed peasants to remain hidden from authorities or enemies. In some cases, peasants weren't just avoiding cold, they were hiding. Rebellions, tax evasion, or fleeing feudal lords could force entire families to live in secret. Subterranean homes were easily concealed, offering both security and anonymity. There are documented cases in England and Germany where peasants built entire underground hamlets that went unnoticed for decades. Some even connected with secret tunnels or escape routes, showing a remarkable understanding of defensive architecture. For modern enthusiasts, this principle demonstrates the value of concealment. Even if you aren't planning for medieval-style threats, understanding how to remain hidden and secure in adverse conditions is a cornerstone of survival strategy. Concealment isn't just tactical. It also protects your resources and your community. Building and living underground required ingenuity and community cooperation. Constructing these homes wasn't a solitary endeavour. Peasants often worked together to dig, reinforce walls, and share knowledge of ventilation and water management. It required constant maintenance, from reinforcing ceilings with timber to clearing drainage channels. The social aspect was as crucial as the physical construction. Communities thrived by sharing labour, resources and protection, proving that survival often depends on cooperation as much as clever engineering. Applying this to modern survival, teamwork remains key. Whether you're planning a retreat, building a bug-out location, or preparing for emergencies, collaboration really multiplies both efficiency and safety. Honestly, knowing your neighbours or community members and sharing skills can be just as valuable as having the best tools or supplies. Understanding medieval underground homes can actually guide modern prepper strategies. From insulation to concealment to resource efficiency, the lessons from medieval underground living are, well, surprisingly relevant today. By studying the specific techniques peasants used, digging into stable soil, using earth for temperature regulation, incorporating minimal ventilation, and planning communal layouts, modern survivalists can design shelters that are both practical and historically informed. You don't need to replicate history exactly. Rather, you can adapt these strategies to modern materials, safety standards, and your own survival goals. In conclusion, the reasons medieval peasants lived underground were simple yet profound. Safety, resource efficiency, thermal regulation, concealment, and community resilience. Each of these principles has a direct parallel for anyone interested in prepping, survival, or even sustainable living. By understanding how people in the past adapted to harsh conditions, we gain not just historical insight, but practical knowledge that can be applied today. If this dive into medieval ingenuity sparked your curiosity, don't stop here. Subscribe to The Prepper Historian for more deep dives into history that teach survival, resilience, and resourcefulness. Share this video with fellow enthusiasts who want to learn how our ancestors turned extreme circumstances into ingenious solutions. History isn't just something we read about, it's a guidebook for living smart, prepared, and resilient in any era.